we want this to be a good experience so you come away from high school with a very meaningful and beneficial experience. Okay, before I get too much into this, I do want to let one group in particular talk. I want to mention that our PTO is here this evening, and despite the fact that we're going to be limited in what it is that we can do as a PTO, they're still going to be pretty active, looking for things to do to kind of build morale and have fun and stuff like that we can do and still adhere to the current guidelines that we find ourselves having to stick to. That is an important organization. Also, we have this other organization, and the reason I'm going to let them talk tonight is it's relatively new, but it's pretty popular. And when I say new, it's just started last year. It's called Best Buddies, okay, and it's something that everybody can get involved in. And so I'd like to have Kendall, and Grace kind of come up here and talk. I said a 1-minute elevator speech. That's what they got. Good luck.
Hi guys, my name is Gracie Allen. I'm a part of the club Best Buddies. It is an international club where our general ed students and our special ed students get together for after-school activities and an outing on Sundays, so anybody in sports can do that. It's super fun. The reason I joined was just because I love spending time and making new friends. It's honestly the best club I've ever been in.
Hi, my name is Kendall Schindler. So I actually have a brother with autism, and that's the main reason why I joined last year. So not only is it great for them, but it has completely changed my life. That is actually the reason why I'm going to special education teaching. Applications are due August 17th. The link is in our Instagram bio, the Instagram is on our paper. So I hope you all join. So thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Kendall. That was pretty good. Stuck to right at a minute. Okay, fantastic. So I have some people that I want to introduce before we get going here. But of course, I'm Dr. Wellman. I'm the principal. We have Mr. Sequeira right here in the blue. He's our athletic director. Dr. Velker, he's in charge of student development as well as guiding the first-year teachers through their first year. And we have Mrs. Johnson. She is in charge of staff development, more or less, and then she will be in charge of the development of mainly female students we're talking about. We've kind of moved some responsibilities around this year. All right, and so with that, and the reason I have their pictures up, not because they're necessarily any better, but they typically aren't here. They're typically in the student activities. So we usually have an activity for the freshmen to do with the mentors and all of that, and that just wasn't going to happen this year. But I do want to point these people out. Mrs. Davis, she is right there. She's actually right there. She is. The freshman counselor, she's brand new. This is her first year here. We're excited about her. She comes to us from some social services. I think she was director of New Hope, right, at one point? There you go. Oh, close enough. All right. And then we have Mrs. Mayfield, okay, over here. She is the special ed facilitator, and so a lot of you people know her. And then we have Officer Woodruff. He is our SRO right there. He has been with us. Is this your third full year? This will be your third year with us here. And then Mrs. Eisner. She's 504 counselor, and she works with international baccalaureate students as well. So now, of course, they're difficult to see with masks on. That's kind of the way they look. And people do look different with masks on, so that's just kind of a glimpse of what they're going to look like here and there. All right. Now, how to contact us. This is going to be pretty important, and a lot of you have already figured that out. You just email. It's our first initial followed by our last name with that suffix there. Please don't hesitate to do that. That is usually something that we stay pretty on top of especially during this time of the year when communication is so important. And tonight's objective is going to be very similar to what it was when I met with you guys in January, is we want to do a couple of things. Build enthusiasm. We want you to be excited about coming to school, most definitely. We want to lessen the anxiety because we know that people, even under normal circumstances, people are nervous about coming to high school, especially if it's your first student there. Even if it's not, it's still sort of nerve-wracking, and then given the current climate, it adds even more. So we want to try to lessen that anxiety, that we're going to take care of you, and then we're going to set your student up to be successful. And then the last one there is to definitely inform. We want to tell you what's going on without overloading you with too much information. All right, but the school goals and the numbers, just to give you an idea of where we are this year, even with the different year that we had, Our graduation rate was it was over 97%, which is fantastic. We have an AP program that 63% of our tests were a 3 or above, which means they passed. And that's really about where your AP program should be. We had over almost 900 tests that we administered last May. And then the diplomas, 91%, Core 40 and above, and then 52% academic honors diploma. So that's some pretty rigorous accomplishments up there. And so that's a tribute to our staff and to our student body and how hard they work. Okay, now changes for this year. There's quite a few, going to be a lot. What adjustments are made for COVID? And I've kind of outlined a few of those in the communications that I've had to you. Virtual school, we think that if there happens to be a shutdown, which there could be, we always want to be positive in this, but we have to plan for this sort of thing. We know that with the virtual school, for the most part, the learning can continue. The learning can continue, and we're still working for ways in which to get internet service or to make accommodations for those that might not have strong internet service. We have not forgotten about that. We just need to gather some data on that. And then lunch, social distancing with the expansion of the eating area. They're going to be eating lunch up in the bleachers as well. You saw the tables out in the spine there. They're going to be eating in the cafeteria. Typically, our cafeteria can house, under normal circumstances, about 420 students. But of course, we're going to have all those kids spread out all over the place. There will be assigned seating for that. We will tell kids where to sit, and we want them to sit the same place every day. And there are going to be multiple areas to pick up and dispose of food. And it'll be a box lunch. Everything will be individually wrapped and all of that. There will not be any student lockers, and I know I did get a question from a student earlier about if they're an athlete and they have gear that they need to drop off, do we expect them to carry it around with them all day? No. We're going to try to work a way to get someplace where you can house that stuff, because we don't want you lugging, 6 or 7, backpacks around all day. That's not any good either. And we're going to shut down the water, not the fill stations. We'll still keep the fill stations open, but no water fountains. Limited use of computer labs, and of course we're going to shut down on visitors as well. So those are just some of the modifications. And this is all through the first week of September. Classrooms, all the desks will face the same direction. There will be some cases where they don't. There might be some limited group activity with some pretty defined rules there. Performing arts and PE, they're going to work in small groups, and they're going to also go outside. And we would encourage other classes to go outside as well. If the weather's conducive to that, then we'll allow people to go outside. And of course, field trips and all that other stuff, that's going to be on hold as well. Okay, and then masks. Everybody wants to know about masks. We are going to be in line with what the Floyd County Health Order says, directive through September 11th, which students must wear a mask at all times in accordance with Floyd County Health Order. And that's what the health order says, okay? Will there be an occasion where students can take their mask off? Of course there will be. Obviously if a student is feeling uncomfortable and if for whatever reason they maybe have to excuse themselves and go out in the hallway, yes, we're going to allow students to do that, and teachers are going to be pretty lenient when it comes to that. Now, we don't want kids to completely take advantage of that all the time, but we do want to allow that. So will they have to wear their mask, they can't ever take it off? Well, that's not true. There'll be occasions where they can do that. Of course, there are appropriate times to do that, lunch being one of them, lunch being one of those. And then we do take temperatures of staff every day before they come in, and then we'll do random temperatures of students. We'll call students out of class to do that down at the nurse's office, and we will do our best with confidentiality and all of that. Okay. So now with that, a couple things about the culture and the climate of Floyd Central. These are some things that we have had going on, and then maybe some of them are relatively new, and some of them have been embedded for quite a while. We've had the security resource officer with Officer Woodruff. That has been here for at least 20 years, and we've had a great relationship with the police department. We do have safety drills monthly, and that will still continue. Some of those we might talk about more. We might not try to get kids, all huddled together for a tornado drill anymore. We might discuss that and talk about what it is we would do in the event of a tornado. We will do fire drills. By state law, we have to do fire drills. We have to do 2 because we have 2 schedules, 2 group of kids before the 10 days of school. and then we'll have a single point of entry after 8 a.m. We have an all-call with Mr. Briscoe, and we have an anonymous tip line. So those have mainly to do with school safety, which are important issues for people. This is something that is relatively new, and when I say new, we started this back in January, or actually I started this a while ago. I do not get an occasion very often in the normal work of my job to meet with any students in any formal sense. So obviously teachers get a chance to go and meet with kids every single day, okay, and they get their kid fix. And I have to actually organize that and plan that of when I'm doing that. And so I meet with these groups regularly, or started doing that back about a year and a half ago. And what that did was that gives me a good perspective on what the culture of the school is like. So I don't just get that from the staff about what the culture's like. I have to, of course, go and talk to these kids. And these kids are very diverse in their group. One in particular, the Diversity Advisory Council, that is made up of largely racial minorities. Not all, but largely racial minorities. And what we did is we started a draft of this. This is the final draft of what we call the Highlander Pledge. It didn't start out that way, okay, and I'll tell you kind of how we got there. But we wanted to do something, they wanted to do something to sort of improve or maybe raise the expectation of the school culture and behavior. All right, and so they came up with this. Now I know it's long, and when I say pledge, I'm not going to make anybody say a pledge every day. We're not going to stand and pledge allegiance to this. It's not like that, but it is sort of a behavioral expectation that we have, and you will see that this is on door 5 out there as you enter, and door 1 out there. And we think that this is a really good thing to expect of our student body. So I started talking to this group of kids, okay, about doing something like this, and then to refine it and get the draft going and polish it, I talked to this group of kids and staff members and whatnot and came up with that. Okay, I know I would do a lot of back and forth there. Okay, but the idea is that we have high expectations for how it is that we expect. Now, the key part of that was, to start with, it was about prejudice, okay, and it had to do with race, okay, but that's not all that there is to that. I talked to groups about, you shouldn't, everybody's entitled to dignity and respect, regardless of race, religion, physical appearance, intellectual ability. We could list a lot of things, so we just put the word every in there. All right, and so that's what it is that we wanted. And so I appreciate the contributions that these groups have had in this. And so why? Why did we do that? Okay, well, this is something that we all want. This is something that the whole school can work towards. Everybody, okay? Prejudice, racism, and all that stuff, as much as I would like to say it, we're just like any other place when it comes to American society. It exists here. I'm not going to ignore those sorts of things exist. Now, is it rampant? Is it something that you see every single day? No, it's not. Is it awful? No, it's not. But we can improve. We can get better, okay? And then the SEL survey results. We surveyed the students the last 2 years, and two things really stuck out to me. Number one is that the students think that the staff really respect them, and that the staff really respects the students. But the odd thing was, students don't respect students. That was that jumped out at me. Other students didn't respect other students. And so that was an effort to address that. And that's not all racial or homophobic or anything like that. That's just in general. So it's a way for us to treat each other better than what it is that we do. Okay, so the goal right there is to effectively give and receive feedback from one another. It's really what we want, right? We want to be a society that can accept feedback in a respectful way, okay, and move forward with that, because we all have to live together. We all have to be under this roof, right? So we might as well all get along. Okay, so that's kind of an introduction of what it is that we're doing. We're kind of kicking that off this year. I'd planned on doing it in the spring, but things kind of got sidelined there. All right, so suggestions and expectations for students. What can you do? Okay, Chromebook expectations. Bring it every day. Bring it every single day, charged and ready to go. Have your passcode for it. Get your little selfie in there, lock screen. Check your email And I know this might be kind of odd for you guys, so you're going to check probably Google Classroom. That's fine, but don't let your inbox get to be like 150 emails. Don't do that, for heaven's sakes. Okay, that's going to drive you crazy. All right, and remember, the device belongs to us. You're basically leasing it from us. So understand that when you do something inappropriate on there, we get notified of that. We don't want to necessarily get notified of that stuff, okay? But we have a responsibility for that sort of thing. So remember, it belongs to us. We want you to have a growth mindset. We want you to believe that you can get better, that with hard work and some guidance, that you can get better in just about anything, that you don't have a fixed intelligence, that if you want to become something, you can become something, and you can work to achieve those things given the right strategy to do that. All right? We want your keys to success, follow the rules. We want you to rise to expectations. All right? Rules, and Dr. Velker is going to talk about those here in a few minutes. Rules are the baseline of things that we need to do in order for our society to go smoothly. That's the basic things that we need to do. Expectations are what makes a society and what makes an organization great, okay? That's what the expectations are. And the expectation for our staff is we want every student to coming to school wanting to learn. That's what we expect. Every student comes to school wanting to learn, okay? That's not a rule, okay? That's an expectation. Okay? And then have fun. There's a little fun here. We'll try to have fun even despite all of the things that we have to do and all the changes that we have to make. Okay, for parents, what should you do? And my father told me never to give advice about parenting until all of my children were at least 50 years old. They're not there yet because we know that parenting is very, very difficult, okay? So I'm going to blame this on the previous administration. That kind of got a lot of this from them. But these are good things, and as a former high school parent, I would encourage you to do this. Talk to your students' teachers, know the activities, have conversations, probe, ask them questions, okay? They'll get mad at you, but they really like it in the end, I promise you, when you ask them questions about how their day was. Make them go through period by period by period of what it is they did every day, okay? I'm saying that a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but I'm pretty serious about that. Okay, because you'd be curious, you'd be very surprised at the things that come out of their mouths and the things that you'll learn when you probe that deeply into their day. Okay, PTO Renaissance, be a part of that. Be a part of our PTO with Amy Schindler and that group. It's a fun group. Okay, they do a lot of cool things for us. And then assist in your students' success. Multiple attempts at mastery. Find out what interventions your students' teachers have. A lot of our teachers have retakes. So if you do poorly on a test to start with, you're going to get another chance. It's going to take some work, okay? You might have to study for it some more, but we're going to give you another chance to do that. Tutoring, take advantage of tutoring if you need it, and then we have it through the extended learning program, okay? And then homework. Make sure that you have it. Just because a student doesn't have anything to do that is due the next day doesn't mean they don't have anything to do, all right? And then Power School, you can keep up with that. That access is going to come at a later date. We will get that information to you. It's going to be a while because we need to get that up and running as a school first, really. We're in the process of that, but we will get information out to you for you to log in and get that information. Okay, and communication. I feel like that's something that we do a pretty good job with here at Floyd Central is communicate. I will send out emails from Messenger. I will try not to bombard you with emails. If I send you something, I feel like it's going to be pretty important, something that you're going to want to know. And then I will get daily announcements, not me personally, but we will have a support staff person get out daily announcements to you soon. We'll start that going. And then you can follow me on Twitter. I like Twitter. About all of our staff members have a Twitter account. Please, I encourage you to follow them if you're into Twitter. Okay? All right, and then progress reports and report cards. Those are going to be a little different as we go. September 14th is going to be the first progress report day. We will not actually send out progress reports, but that marks halfway to the end of the quarter. Okay, halfway to the end of the quarter. And by the way, we don't send report cards home through the mail, except at the end of the year. Okay, except at the end of the year. So, you probably want to keep an eye on when those dates are going to be and ask for your student's report card. Okay, and then school supplies. Everybody wants to know about school supplies. We're going to have to rework that a little bit. We can no longer expect students to have a 3-inch binder for every class without lockers. That's not fair. We can't do that. Okay, so that will be adjusted. Teachers are kind of feeling their way through that. There might be some things left in the classroom and all of that, but you can't go wrong with all of that up there, with notebooks, folders, pencils, and pens. You just can't. Okay, so with that, I'm gonna relax my voice here a little bit, and I'm gonna have Mrs. Johnson come up, and she's gonna talk about terms and tests, about what to expect for graduation and whatnot.
Thank you. Well, welcome to a very unusual school year. And I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the terms, testing, graduation requirements, and so on, stuff that'll kind of follow your student for the next 4 years. I'm the one who's pretty much responsible for staff development and curriculum and instruction. So I work with teachers on that, as well as help students with scheduling issues or issues that they may have that arise in the classroom. So let's go see what we got here. Okay, so graduation requirements. Many of you are familiar with iStep or iLearn testing, and there is no longer going to be iStep testing in high school, meaning that we have a new graduation qualifying exam, and that is going to be the SAT. And the SAT will be given in your junior year. So this year's current seniors and juniors will continue to take iStep retest because that is their graduation qualifying exam, but that's going away. And so when you guys are juniors, you will take the SAT. You will also take an iLearn test in science, which is with biology, and you will take that test the year that you are in biology. So many of you are in biology as freshmen, so you will take that test in the spring. The good thing about the SAT is that there is not going to be retakes. You will take it once, and if you do not get the qualifying score, you will reach your graduation by one of the graduation pathways. So graduation pathways are also linked on here, and basically there are many different ways that you can reach graduation, not just by the SAT. A lot of students will choose to go to Prosser and do it that way with industry certifications. There's also other ways, such as the academic honors diploma. There's different avenues and pathways, so it's not all tied to one test like it used to be with the iStep test. So we offer several different diploma tracks at Floyd Central. So you have the Core 40 diploma, which we consider to be the basic diploma. You have the academic honors diploma, the technical honors diploma, and then the international baccalaureate diploma or IB diploma. So you as a freshman will begin to think about, what diploma am I pursuing? If you decide that you want to pursue the IB diploma, you start taking those IB courses your junior year, but there's some things that you can do your freshman and sophomore year to have yourself set up for the classes that you need to take when you are a junior or a senior. Your counselors will talk to you about this a lot when you meet for credit checks, and when they meet with you during scheduling, you'll have conversations about what diploma you are pursuing. So the IB diploma began in Floyd Central in 2015. There were 4 students who received the IB diploma with the class of 2020. This current senior class has the largest number of students who are going for the diploma, somewhere around 15. There will be meetings, informational meetings. Usually your sophomore year, we do an informational parent meeting to talk about the IB diploma. So if it's something that you think you might be interested in, listen for those announcements. Grading items. So different from middle school, your grades are semester running total grades, meaning that the grade you have in the class will be a running total from the beginning of school till the end of the first semester, and then start over second semester to the end of the year. All teachers use some sort of categories in their grading, and each of the categories is worth a different percentage. And so tests or assessments might be worth 60% of the grade, where other things might be worth 20 and 20 and so on. So they will equal 100%, but they will divide their categories up based on what they want to put the most emphasis on. So as a student and as a parent, you need to be mindful of that when you're looking at your students' grades in PowerSchool and saying, well, they just took this test and it really impacted their grade. Well, testing may be more in that class than it might be in another class. Like courses will have the same categories and weights. So all freshman English teachers will have the same categories in their grade book and the same weights for those categories. So it's not going to be different regardless of who you have for English. Grading scale is the 90 to 100 grading scale, and different classes are weighted differently. So honors classes are on a 5-point scale, AP classes and IB classes and dual credit classes are on a 6-point scale, which will impact your overall GPA. PE class, participation is not a huge percentage of any class, except when it comes to PE, because if you aren't participating in PE, then obviously you're not doing what is expected in that class. So you will see participation being an impact in PE class or a performing arts type class. Class rank, total number of grade points earned, not the student's grade point average. So there's a formula that determines class rank, and well, it's really hard to explain. I'm not sure anyone really understands it. But anyway, they will figure that out at the end of each semester. Athletics. I will turn it over to Mr. Sequeira. Oh, he gets like 3 slides and he doesn't even show up to do them. So guess Dr. Velker will.
All right, good evening. Up until this year, my primary duties have been really in the area of discipline. So I'll tell you, parents, whatever you hear from your sons or daughters, I do have friends. I do get invited places to go, meet people, and I'm not evil. So there you go. As far as athletics go, we offer 21 IHSAA sports. And we have also some club sports. We have bowling, boys volleyball, and we have fishing team that goes in the spring. And those are all very, very popular. You have to have a physical form on file in the athletic office before you can try out. I know in middle school sometimes they let you make the team and then you couldn't go to practice until you had your physical. You cannot participate in athletics or even go to a practice without your physical. To be eligible for athletics, you must be passing 5 classes, and that is at the 9 weeks and at the semester. So you have to be passing five subjects. So some kids may elect to take 7 to give them a little breather, a little leeway, so they can pass 5 out of 7 to be eligible. Also, you have a code of conduct, which started in I think it's July 1st of your freshman year and goes through July 1st of your senior year. That you will stay away from drugs, alcohol, not participate in any illegal activities. If you do, all right, there will be some repercussions for your sport, okay? So that's an expectation that we have for athletes. All you guys coming in as freshmen will be eligible right away as long as you file. There he is. I'm on athletic eligibility. So talking about transfers.
Okay, once again, sorry I was on a phone call with the new Albany athletic director. We're trying to get things lined up for the season. Lots of things to go over, so I apologize for being a little bit late getting in here. Talking about transfers, since you're a freshman coming in, you've got 15 days basically to choose your high school, and that's the high school that you will stay at for the 4 years. If you ever happen to move and want to go to a different school, you would have to do a transfer form at that school. But if you have any questions about that, just let me know. That's all I got. That was really easy. Should I go back? What else you want to know? Did you do the whole slide? Oh, NCAA, it's canceled. All right, anything else? They're pretty much canceled. Actually, I sent everything out to the counselor. So if your child is interested in, playing in college, there are certain classes that they have to take. It's a little bit more stringent than just taking your normal core classes. So there are some guidelines on what you can take and what you can't take. They have eased a little bit of the online as of this year, obviously because of COVID-19. And I just sent out an email this morning to all of our coaches because Mr. Clark, who's not here today, he's kind of in charge of our athletes and making sure that they are taking the proper requirements for the NCAA. But make sure if your child is interested, maybe they aren't right now, but sometimes boys especially, in 2 years, your sons are going to look a lot different. They're going to start growing up. They're going to start lifting weights. They're going to completely change. And then all of a sudden they start having some success in their sport. They may want to look at maybe playing in college. So it always helps to go ahead and make sure that you're on the right track, and Mr. Clark and your counselors can help you with that. But there are some things, and if you have any questions about that, please don't hesitate to call Mr. Clark or call myself. And once again, I'm Mr. Sequeira. I'm the athletic director. Driver's ed, that's me. Okay. Once again, my name is Mr. Sequeira, but I'm not the Mr. Sequeira that used to teach driver's ed here for 50 years. Anybody in here have my dad for driver's ed? Okay, I see some hands popping up. So we have transferred that now to Dave Michelle. Most of you probably know him from Highland Hills Middle School, the PE teacher over there. So he's in charge of that. We do need to change that slide, obviously, because it's no longer the .K12INUS. It's just now .org. But if you have any questions about driver's ed, as your son or daughter gets to be that age, please just go to the bookstore. Well, we always have some information there for you guys to grab and get that information. And then we can go ahead and get in touch with Dr. or Mr. Michelle, and we can get the paperwork to you. It's an online class, so they do not actually come to Floyd Central to take the class. They go online, and once they've reached a certain portion of the online course, then we'll bring them in here to start their 6 hours of driving. And we have a couple people that teach that, not only Dave Michelle, Alan Roederer, who used to be a teacher at Highland Hills, he also does that. It's a good program, and the good thing is the kids can sometimes just stay right after school and go out driving and get it taken care of. Or if it works out better for you on the weekends, that's also an option. And I think that covers everything there. Driving to school, you're not going to be doing that yet. So hopefully, once we get to down the road, your child will be able to drive to school, and we'll have lots of fun. Rules and policies. We have lots of those. Now Dr. Velker can take it. I can keep going? Normally they only give me like 3 slides because I kind of tend to ramble on. A safe school is dependent on the relationship the staff has to students. Okay, I'm going to pass it off to you. I've had enough of it. But that slide does count for me.
We'll count it. As some of you guys remember the Gong Show, he'd gotten gonged here pretty quickly. All right, so, yeah, we really talked to our faculty this morning about develop a relationship with students. Number one thing you think about when you went to school, what made school a lot of fun was the relationship that you had with different teachers. And we've really talked to them about trying to reach out, if your student is virtual as well, about being there and knowing what kids are interested in and what they want to do. And that's harder and harder now that we're in that online streaming world. Used to be, if I know who won the NASCAR race, all right, and who was on The Bachelor, I met my boys, I met my girls. I was pretty good to go in on Monday and know how to relate. It's a lot different. Everybody watches different shows now, has different interests, so it's a harder job for our teachers to do. But that's one of the things we want them to do. All right, as far as transportation goes, our buses drop off in the front of the building here at door 1. If you need your bus route, it'd be there linked for you on eLink, which is on the website. Car riders, we'll send you back. You enter down by the football field on Edwardsville-Galena Road, and you come up the hill. All right, you'll go through. It's kind of like Kings Island, where you have to go through the maze a little bit, and then you drop off in front of the building. So we ask that you don't worry about which door you're going to, that everybody goes up, opens the door, drops off, all right, and then Officer Woodruff will be there to get you out and on your way as quickly as possible, okay? We ask that you don't drop off in the student lot. All right, we have some horror stories about some things that have happened with parents trying to go. They try to go too quickly. all right, and they're the one that has the fender bender or something like that in the parking lot. We don't want that to happen, okay? As far as school, yes. Freshmen, you are off the country club schedule of 9 a.m. start, all right? We start at 7:40. That doesn't mean that you can show up at 7:40, all right? We start, bell rings at 7:40. You need to plan on getting to school if you're a car rider here at about 7:20, so that way if you're 5 minutes late, you're still on time. We do that, okay? So before school, our doors do open at 6 a.m., so you can get here anytime after 6, and we have kids here at 6. You may go get breakfast. When it starts to serve at 7, you can hang out in the spine. You can kind of have free reign, go see a teacher. If you have appointments, see a teacher, get some help with a class, that kind of thing. You can do that. But this year, we're going to make sure that you're socially distanced. We have teachers out and about, and we're going to start moving you towards your first period about 7:20. Okay, but that doesn't mean if you need to go see somebody, you can't do it. We have a 7:35 warning bell, and then class starts at 7:40. Okay, lunch. Dr. Willman already talked about lunch. Lunch, depending on your class, you'll have an assigned area to sit, and lunch is going to be a lot different. We've had a lot of freedom at lunch. Kids can walk around in the spine and that kind of thing. Sadly, this year, really, I mean, you're going to be able to go to the restroom there, but you're going to have an assigned seating. Once you get up, you go to the restroom, come back, that'll be fine, but then you're going to have to move to class. You're not going to be able to move out down the spine and congregate on the benches or anything like that. So it is going to be a little different, and we're going to learn as we go with it as well. I mean, kind of the joke is we'll see what we screwed up on Wednesday so we can fix it on Thursday for that group of kids' first day, okay? Calling in an ambulance, calling in an absence, you call Kelly Crane on the automated line. If you don't call in and your student is absent, you will get a call that goes out at 11:30. And then the big one is your student comes sick at school, they should go to the health office. They shouldn't call or text you to come pick them up, because that happens and all of a sudden there's a parent there and we don't know that the student had even made any contact. They need to go through the health office, all right? And the health office will call you and contact you to send that, hey, I think so-and-so's sick, you need to come pick them up. And you go from there, all right? School discipline, I mean, we have a lot of non-negotiables, all right? But we expect kids in class on time, follow tardy policy. We don't expect profanity here at school at all, and we don't really have a lot of it. You go to other schools and you hear things, we don't do that. It'll be addressed. We expect appropriate dress, all right? Guy wears a hat to school, all right? We don't really care, but when you enter the building, you take your hat off, and you can put it back on in the end of the day. Like I said, we don't expect any sleeping in class. Phones cause a problem. The phone is expected to be put away when you enter the classroom. We don't really care if they check it between classes. They can look at their phone at lunch, but once they enter that classroom from first to second period, all right, they may look at it, but it goes back in their pocket. If it is out during class time, all right, I don't want to hear I'm just checking the time, all right? It'll be taken from them, and they'll get it back at the end of the school day from either Mrs. Schaefer or me, all right? It should not be out at all. If they need to check the time, there's a clock there where they can say, Mr. Miss So-and-so, can I look at the time real fast? But they know their phone should not be out, all right, during the day, because we get a little bit of that. Like I said, cafeteria, you eat sometime during fourth period. And that's a little bit different. They don't go down as a class. We've had a rolling lunch period. It's going to kind of roll a little bit, but this year it'll be a little different where you go. Lunch is going to be $2.60. Mrs. Richardson is out there as well to answer any questions you have about lunch. In high school, charge policy is $4.15. Some kids think they can go. They just don't ever have to worry about money. In high school, we expect them to know what the balance in their account is. And so they should know what it is and know, hey, I need to tell my mom or dad to get on My Payments Plus and put money into their account. If it's a problem, they can come talk to me, all right? Or you can give me a call or whatever, and we'll work through it. You did get some barcodes, all right? And so they can bring that thing in the barcode. We believe that if they take a picture of it, they'll always have it on their phone and they can just swipe their phone through and be able to do that. That's what we think it'll be able to do, but they have their code there, and so they don't even have to touch the pen pad this year. All right. The other thing about lunch, especially if they're buying lunch, they're basically going to get choice 1 or choice 2. It's in a box. They can't go through right now during COVID. So hopefully we can get past COVID and we can go back to our normal lunch schedule. Okay. I've already talked to you about cell phones and the policy there. The other thing we get is in high school, videos of other kids. Normally, they're not videoing a kid doing something really good. Normally, it's that other kid at their most embarrassing moment of high school. So that could be a suspendable offense. You don't take a video of another kid, all right? 2 kids have an altercation, you don't take a video of it. You don't post it on Snapchat. You don't do any of that. If you do, then you're putting me in an office making a decision of what we're going to have to do with you, and I don't want that to happen. So that's why their phone needs to be put away. So we don't do that. Okay? All right? And then the academic integrity policy basically is don't cheat, don't help somebody else cheat. Because they get kids, well, I did the homework myself. I just let him copy it. Well, you're helping him, all right, to violate the academic integrity policy. That's not what you should be doing, all right? Write your own paper. Cite your resources correctly. If you don't cite correctly, we'll work with you to cite it correctly, all right? But don't just copy a paper off the internet, which does happen sometimes, all right? You just don't expect you to cheat. And with all the virtual technology we have, that becomes more and more. Your son or daughter may be asked to take their smartwatch off during a test, put it in their pocket, and not have it out. Things like that, just so that doesn't happen, okay? All right, and then Dr. Wilman will talk about our next section.
Okay, I'm going to round this out here. Just thinking ahead a few things in the future. We had summer school this past year, so we have an opportunity for people to take courses and get ahead, or to take courses that maybe they have failed. We will have that again, we think. Advanced placement and dual credit, that's something that you probably need to consider. I think most students, when they go through here, a very high percentage are going to take an AP course or a dual credit course. This right here, that STGEC, I want to put a plug in for that. Okay, that is a program where students can take 30 hours of college credit in high school and get credit at any in-state public university. So that means that if you complete that program, our STGEC, which essentially starts about the junior year, if you would complete that, then you could walk into IU with 30 hours under your belt. You walk in as a sophomore. No, you will have to take no gen ed courses at all, okay? Students, you might not know what that means. Parents, a lot of parents probably do. That's a big deal. You're going to save a year off college, okay? So that's a big deal. Prosser, the Prosser has a brand new facility. Okay, don't forget about that place. It is not simply for your traditional vocational trades, okay, which obviously are very, very important, but there's pharmacy, there's nursing, there's criminal justice, there's all kinds of stuff there. I implore you, if you're interested in any of those things, please consider going to Prosser, and they have an open house usually in January. Then community service, document that stuff. There are always scholarships out there that really that reward that kind of thing. So keep track of the community service that you do. A lot of this generation is into that, so stay up with that, okay? And then the PSAT, we already maybe mentioned that. We don't know if we're going to make that available to freshmen or not, but we can get that out to you soon. And then college admissions. We have all sorts of discussions on this. The biggest thing there is rigorous coursework. That's the biggest thing that they're going to look at, okay? Notice that class rank and all that other stuff's not up there. It's going to be rigorous coursework and then your test scores. That's really what they're going to look at, okay? And then open house. I wanted to kind of get you guys out of here in a relatively decent amount of time. Open house, the release on that will be the 27th of August, and what we'll do, it'll be virtual. We won't have everybody in the building at that time. but we'll push that out on a Google Doc where teachers will have like a hyperlink next to their name, and you will view the teacher's little spiel on their class at that time, and I'll communicate that with you as that time approaches. We might come out a little bit sooner than that, but I'll definitely communicate with that. Okay, and I appreciate all your all's patience tonight. Okay, I will go ahead. I'll go ahead and answer individual questions, and we'll be available after this for you guys. I want you to go away with the idea, or at least the feeling, that we are excited about this year. Yes, we're nervous. We're nervous like everybody else. Okay, the teachers and the staff. We had a great opening day today, but we're ready to get started. We're ready to get started, and despite all of these other things, we're going to take care of your kid. We love this school. We want you to love it too. Thank you, okay, and we look forward to our awesome first day in 2 days.